Are we back? Hey everybody, it's me, Sister Mothyna. As you all are chiming in, I'm trying to find, okay, got it. So for those of you who do not know, maybe this is your first time, we've got some new people in the group. I'm Sister Mothyna. I am one of the co-founders of Heal a Woman to Heal a Nation, and I get to serve you as Director of Operations for HWHN. And I'm really excited because, and the reason why I call this how is your 2016 going to end, is I have been cleaning up my office, so I'm finding like old notebooks all over the place. Anyway, and I love going through my old notebooks. They're like journals to me. I see my notes, what I was thinking on, what we were planning in HWHN world at certain points. And I came across a note that I kicked off in January of 2016 that talks about how your 2016 story is going to go. And so I asked many of you, I asked so many of you to tell me how your 2016 story is going to be. And so I asked you to start with a sentence, my 2016 story is, and I asked you to declare it. And so I went back through my email. And those of you who emailed me, I prompted you, I said, email me, I will respond. Some of y'all think that we don't respond. We do respond. Sometimes it takes a while. But I told you to email me and I'll respond. So I went back and read through some of the declarations, some of the vision casting that happened in January of 2016 with those of you who actually emailed me and told me, hold on, why do I always forget this? Hold on. Okay, done. I had to mute my line so it won't be disturbing us. You know, we being intimate right now. So I asked some of you to really share that with me. And so I went back and I read your emails. And I saw your visions. And it was everything from, I want to spend more time with my son. I want to finish my book. I want to launch my wellness journal. My 2016 is going to be the year of me. This is the year that I say yes. This is the year I break out. This is the year I become a powerful speaker and start my speaking platform. I'm reading all of these messages from you. And what dawned on me is we are about, how many days do we have left? 15, something like that, 16, I think 16, 17 days left. And what I'm realizing is I haven't heard from many of those who sent me those messages. I'm like, well, where y'all at? So I emailed you to check your email. You may have an email from me. So I emailed you just to touch back base and say, hey, this is what you told me at the beginning of 2016. Where are we now? And I want to know, how is your 2016 story coming to a close? What are you declaring? What are you saying? What's the powerful truth that you're bringing to the last few days of 2016? What has your 2016, what is this chapter of your life? What is the 2016 chapter of your life closing with? And what occurred to me is that I may see, and I've gotten it from a couple of you in the last couple of weeks. I had a client call today, and we chit-chatted, and she talked about just experiencing this sense of pain. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she talked about the emotional and mental aspect of what she was dealing with. How many of us have experienced something that the emotional and the mental pull of it is what really has us caught up? This now is no longer any physical pain. It's the mental, the emotional ache of it. And what I share with her, and this is something that I had actually, a piece of it I had read and I've adapted it since to fit me, and what I recognize to be true, and that is pain is temporary. So that makes it easier to deal with than suffering. So pain is temporary. So that makes it easier to deal with than suffering. See, suffering, that's difficult. Suffering is the thing that really holds us. Suffering is the thing that puts us in a position where we don't get a chance to accomplish the things that we truly desire. And if you're asking me, Mothyna, what the heck are you talking about? What's the difference between pain and suffering? Pain, typically, real pain is actually physical. It's a physical ache. And when you look at the definition and you see they continue to define that mental and emotional, it's mental and emotional suffering that they buffer the definition of pain with. So mental and emotional suffering is the ongoing. Suffering is based on the story you've now begun to tell yourself about the pain you've experienced. Suffering, though, is actually optional. You can opt out of suffering. You can opt out of that. So, for example, those of us who are 2016, it's like, I'm ready for it to be over. I'm ready for it to be done. Much of it isn't stuff that has happened to you. It is how you've chose to tell the story about what has happened to you. And if you're still carrying something from 6 months ago and you're getting ready to walk into 2017 with it, I am challenging you to ask yourself some very strong questions about how optional that pain or that suffering you're experiencing actually is. And as I think about it, I think there's 3 main things that we deal with when we deal with this concept of suffering. That's loss, less, and never. So here's what I mean by that. Typically when we're suffering, meaning we've experienced pain, because remember, pain is temporary, but we're telling ourselves a story about that experience and it leads us to suffering, there's often a loss that has happened, right? We've experienced a loss. We've had something and now it's gone. We no longer have it. And so we're dealing with the loss and we're telling ourselves the story of what we no longer have. Right? It's making sense? Even as you catch the replay, feel free to slide the screen, give hearts, and talk about it and tag a sister friend. But I really, as I'm thinking about this concept of how our 2016 story is going to end, what story will you tell yourself about 2016? Is it going to be a story of suffering? And are you going to carry that into 2017? Oh my God, I'm so ready for this year to be over. And there are seasons in our life where things don't go the way we want them to, or the way we plan for them to go, right? But the question of what do you tell yourself about it? How do you frame the story in your life? And that's everything. That's everything. Okay, so anyway, so I said there was 3 things, right? 1 was loss. So you've experienced a loss, something that you have that you no longer have. And you tell yourself a story about how you're suffering because you no longer have that thing. It could be anything. Then the second thing I said was that it's less. So now you have the desire for something, or you feel like you deserve something, and you don't have as much of it as you feel like you deserve or desire. You have less than you desire, less than you think you deserve. And so you're telling yourself, again, the story of what you don't have. Oh my gosh, I deserve more than this. I worked so hard. I should have. This is, right? You get that? Am I by myself? I come back and read the comments and I'm seeing your comments. So let me know I'm not, that this is not foreign. Because I think about one of the years where I was like, oh my God, I can't wait till this year is over. And for me, that was 2014. 2014 was very difficult for me. I was on the brink of divorce. Okay, literally on the brink of divorce. I was dealing with the loss of a car. I had gotten into a really, really bad car accident that totaled my brand new car. But I'm alive, right? Story you tell yourself about the suffering. And I also, and then this was in a really short time frame. So I made all of my 2014 about maybe 4 or 5 months of my life in 2014. And then also in 2014 began this process where my husband and I really was realizing that we may just have to file for bankruptcy. Like we were beginning that was the beginning of it, and really processing that through. And so I remember thinking to myself as 2014 was closing out, I'm so glad that this is over, because I was telling my story, this conversation about what more I believe I deserved. And I believe firmly and fully that we cannot be upset about the things that we experience, because those experiences build our lives for something else, something more. If it gives you if you go through a test, it gives you that testimony. And it may not be for you, it may be for those you're meant to serve, to support, to offer to provide guidance to. Does that make sense? And I think that's really a powerful aspect. So now when I came out of 2014, and it took me a few months into 2015, and I think I did start really getting it around the beginning of 2015, where I was like, that was my year wrapped in sandpaper. It was difficult. It felt harsh, especially at the time that I was going through it. Okay. And it felt like, why? What value does it have in my life to be experiencing this right now? And I know I'm not the only one. I know there are some of you who experience this, and you have felt this happen for you as well. And so that I called it the gift wrapped in sandpaper, because while I lost my house, I did actually lose my house entirely. Like, my house was gone. This is part of the reason why we realized we have to file bankruptcy, because I had to leave my home. That we were in for 7 years, because the house was totally upside down and it was draining us entirely. So we had to get rid of it. We had to let it go. And so that year, though, when I moved into a bigger home than I was actually in, and was spending less money than I was spending on my mortgage at the time. And the car was total, but I got another car that runs perfectly fine. We still have it to this day. And I had no car note, because we bought a used car instead of the car that I was forking out. I don't even want to tell you how much money to drive. And so what I'm sharing with you, and what I want you to get, is that once I began to realize that there was so many gifts in that season of difficulty, but you can't always see it when you're in it. And that's why reflection is so important. That's one of the reasons why I was sending these emails today saying, hey, I haven't seen or heard from you. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And I want you to share with me, how did your 2016 story close? So that is one of the things that happens. So this concept of less, you have less than. So that often leads to our stories of suffering. And then this concept of never. So you're afraid that you'll never get something that you desire. You're afraid that you'll never get something that you desire. That leads to so much suffering, because we are trying to live in the future. Yes, Allah is awesome. We're trying to live in the future that hasn't happened yet, while making the past our reality, our present, and it never serves us. It never serves us to do that. And so now you're suffering, because what you think you will never ever have, the reality is you haven't even gotten there yet. You don't know what 2 years, 4 years, 10 years down the line looks like for you yet. In reality, we can project, we can cast a vision. Y'all know I'm 110% behind visioning. So you see some of our vision boards up on the walls, right? But that's what I'm talking about. So if I kept telling myself, well, let's use this for example. At the time we casted the vision for an increased network, right? That we would have, a 3-day inspiration and information transformation weekend. This was from 2013. This is from 2013, moving into 2013. This is how old this vision is. Now, in 2017, getting ready to walk into 2017, we not only have a 3-day annual weekend that leads for transformation information in life and community, we actually have a weekend that is 4 days for our membership community that surpasses what we originally even thought might be possible when we put that on our vision board. You get that? So if we would have said a month later, 2 months later, oh my gosh, we'll never really get that. I don't know why we even created that vision for ourselves. This is so much work. Who knows what we're going to get? Hey, greatness. Hey. How we're going to be able to really manifest that in our lives. If we would have started telling ourselves a story of what we're never going to have at the point we casted that vision out there, we would not be where we are today. You get that? Hey, Tammy. You get that? So what I'm saying to you is, suffering is in fact optional. Pain is temporary. But when you tell yourself stories about what you'll never have, what you've lost, or what you think you deserve, and you feel like you're going to never get there, then you're always going to be in suffer. You're always going to be in suffer mode. You'll never get a chance to step into destiny, because you're holding yourself down with the anchor of suffering that we then tell ourselves is pain, which is optional and temporary. It doesn't have to stay there. You can, in fact, push yourself into creating a vision that will allow you to expand the breadth of what's possible. Do you get what I mean by that? So that's one of the things that I'm really sitting here and I'm asking you, and I'm asking myself, what does the close of my 2016 look like? Without a journal, without a record, Come on, Tammy, tired of suffering. Without a journal, without a record of what you have done, the greatness of it, all of your wins, the things that you've learned by experiencing this sense of failure or loss. Okay, it happens. We're not always going to get everything. But if you don't change your story, this is how you shift, right? This is how you release optional suffering. Is that you have to, one, change your story, and two, recognize what you can control. You get that? When I say change your story, what are you going to continue? What are you now going to tell yourself about what's possible so that you can dictate what you're getting ready to walk into? Instead of letting life happen to us, why don't we happen to life? Why don't we declare what's going to happen? Because then you can look at things that show up for you. That may be challenges in family, life, love, health, all of those things that can happen. In business, come on. What? Okay. So when those things happen, how do we rededicate? How do we redirect that and rededicate ourselves to the vision that we desire, not the vision, right? Yes, not the vision of suffering that we're telling ourselves is going to be a reality. So the first thing I said in terms of changing this is that you're going to change the story that you tell yourself. Now, here's the thing. When I say recognize what you can control, I really mean recognize what you can control. Instead of going into a place where you're talking to yourself and you're driving yourself insane. This is where that control comes in. Remember I said loss, less, and never. There's only so much control we have over the future. We can work to influence our future. Does that make sense? And you work to influence your future by what you do today. The action that you take in the present can have an influence on your future. Got that? So when we look at loss, meaning the things that we no longer have, the things that have either gone out of our lives, willingly or unwillingly, we no longer have access to those things, experiences, or people, then that is something you have absolutely no more control over because it's gone. It's gone. And I mean, it's over. It's done. You have no control over that, so just accept it as is. Find the lesson, find the blessing, find the testimony in the experience, and carry that value through with you through your present. Don't carry the suffering from it. Don't carry the pain from it. Carry the value and the lesson from it into your present, and it can help build you for your future. All right? So that is that thing. You have to just accept that. Now, never is that conversation about what's to come. You're afraid of what you'll never get. You're afraid of something that you may not have access to in your future. Now, for never, I don't understand. You have control over this. You know why? Because it hasn't happened yet. So there's influence. Remember I said you can influence your future, but you're never, what are you in the moment of? Your present. You have full control over. You can do some action. You can take action. Now, if it's something that somebody else has influence on or has pressed on you, meaning something happened to you, you have full control over how you act regarding that what has happened in your present. You get that? So that's what we're looking at here when we talk about how to release optional suffering, which is optional, and how to really recognize that you're embracing a new reality, that the vision you're casting, that the reality of what your next looks like is truly a remarkable and powerful experience because you get to declare and you get to release suffering and build a strong foundation on what you can control. Just recognize when things happen, the car accident that happened, after it happened, I had no more control over it. That was it. I have no more control over that. I have to accept that it's happened and think about what can happen next. The fact that I bought a home right before the economy crashed and the neighborhood we purchased in, the house went upside down. It never even got back to half of its value. I think right after we left, it got back to 60% of its value, meaning 60% of what we still had to pay on it, it was back to that value. But we had to pay somewhere, we purchased for somewhere around $150,000, $200,000, and it had gotten to like maybe 70, 75. Like, somebody else do the math. My point, what I'm sharing to you is, once that happened, I had no control over that. I can only control how much longer I stayed in a home like that and kept myself beholden to that. You see that? So what are the things that you can have a measure of control over? Is it no control? Do you have some kind of level of control? Do you have full control? Decide that, and that helps you dictate how you're going to act. Yes? Helpful? Okay. So, I'm not going to keep you all. I just wanted to pop in and share that. Of course, I'm going to tell you about what's happening. If you caught this broadcast in the middle, I'm Sister Mothyna. I'm one of the co-founders of Healer Women's Healing Nation, and I get to serve you as Director of Operations for HWHN. I wanted to pop into our private group, this Unlimited You group, and just kind of share a little bit about this concept of how your 2016 story is going to end. What are you willing to tell yourself about not just what's happened, so you can release any form of optional suffering, but what are you declaring over the next few days that you still have left? Those of you who, I shared this with our membership community last night, that one of my goals for 2016 was to release debt. And instead, I actually accumulated more debt. And so I declared for myself that I was not about to let 2016 close with so much of it sitting on me. And so as of the first of this particular month, and before the month closes out, I plan to release more. My husband and I released about, I think, just over $1,600 in debt. So debt that was just sitting there waiting. I'm trying to tell you, when you let that stuff go, the lightness. Okay, anyway. So that was my big, hairy goal that I walked into December with for 2016, that I was not going to let 2016 rest without me being in full action, bold, unapologetic action with releasing debt from my life. And so the year isn't over yet. The closing chapter, the closing piece of your 2016 has not closed yet. So you still have time, right? You still have time to open up for yourself a bold request, a bold venture, something that you desire to make happen in the world. So before I let you go, the last time I was here with you, I talked about whether or not we should have or was that on a call? I can't remember. I think it was on a Wednesday call. I talked about whether or not we should do a virtual vision board party for 2017. And you told me yes. And you told me that you wanted to do it on New Year's Day. So the answer is we are definitely going to do a virtual vision board party. I'm so excited about it. This is the only time we've ever done this. The registration for that is going to be $20.17. Like, seriously. So we're going to do at the virtual vision board party, we're going to send you pre-work so you can start working on your actual vision board. We're going to teach you what that looks like on how to do it. If you don't want to do paper, scissors, this aspect, we're going to talk about the different types of vision boards you can create. We're also going to talk about how to make that vision board actualize. What are some tips and strategies that you can take, that we took, to make these a reality for ourselves? These are the two that I have up because our vision boards don't typically happen just in a year. Some of them we ride them through for 2, maybe 3 years. I think most of this one happened in 18 months. This one was like 18 months. This one we're getting closer to. This one has been a year and a half now. A little over 18 months. It's almost 2 years. But anyway, so how do we make that happen? How do we actualize the vision boards? We also are going to be giving you, for those of you who have been emailing us and asking for the replays of the I Didn't Start to Stop series and summit, we're giving that to you as part of the virtual vision board party. So that's going to be all 5 recordings of the summit that we did in November of 2016. So you're going to get access to that. And we're also going to make sure that you have access to a call that we're doing on New Year's Day at 8 p.m. So the virtual webinar piece of it is going to happen at noon. You're going to get your homework by the 27th of December. You know what we talk about, growth work. So you're going to get your growth work by the 27th so you can get in action, getting going, pulling the resources, the tools you need, getting the thought process, really working through so that you can create an amazing vision board that's intentional, okay? Not just, oh, this looks nice, but intentional. And then also we're going to do at 8 o'clock a call where we talk about some of the 3 mistakes that we tend to make as amazing powerhouse unlimited women, where we don't always feel like that. We often feel like we're just super women busy and we're constantly going, what are some of the mistakes we make, how to avoid those mistakes, and to further make 2017 the best Yes, growth work. The best year that's possible for you. And so we're going to do that. And I'm thinking, it doesn't say this on the registration page, but I'm thinking that we've got an awesome 7-day exercise that we did to really make sure you keep rolling in the new year. And I think I'm going to make sure that we include that. Shh, don't tell Monica. All right, so anyway, so that's the virtual vision board party. That's going to be on January 1st, on day one of 2017. We're going to do the virtual vision board party. It's $20.17. That's it. It lets us be able to manage really supporting our team, as well as the designer who's putting together the materials for you, so you can have that and all those pieces. So it's $20.17. I think it's worth the investment. I really do. The recordings alone from the I Didn't Start to Stop Summit is like, yeah, because these are women who charge and they spent their time with us, and I'm really excited about the value that they offered. And those of you who participate in the summit, you understand that we had an amazing time every single night, and it was really powerful. So, and you get to keep those for life. You will also get the replays. So if for some reason you say, oh, I can't do January 1st, you'll also get access to the replays. So we'll make sure you have them, okay? All right, so that's the summit. That's the vision board party that's going to be on the 1st of January, the day one. And we're also going to remind you that Monica said I couldn't say this here because we really was putting it out to those of you who are on our mailing list. So if you're not on the mailing list, why not? But we're going to be doing our Living My Vision brunch. The tickets are up for that. And you get a bonus. You get a bonus when you invest in the day virtual vision board party. When you invest in the virtual vision board party for $20.17, you also do get a chance to get a bonus applied to your brunch ticket. So, you know, we like to serve. That's what we do. So that's it. I'm going to post the link for the vision board party so you get a chance to have access to that. I do come back and watch the comments. So if you have a question, something resonated with you, let me know. If you want to tell me how your 2016 story is coming to a close, then make sure you email me, Mothyna@hwhn.org, Mothyna at hwhn.org. If you can't figure out how to spell my name, just look at my profile. But I'm at hwhn.org. Let me know how your 2016 closed out. I appreciate you. I love you to pieces and back whole again. We'll talk soon.